This video is about operator precedence. And if you don't know what operator precedence is, pay close attention because these are very subtle things that can help you out a lot in the long run and can cause you great pain if you don't understand them. Now, in Ruby, we can do a lot of things with the operators we've learned. If I wanted to create a number, I could simply assign it to an equation, for instance, like 10 plus 10 times 3. Let's make it 10 plus 15. Now, if you know regular math, the operator precedence, or the way operators are evaluated, is exactly like PEMDAS, or how you learned math in high school. In that multiplication will be done first, division and multiplication will be done first, and then addition, subtraction will be done next. So 15 times 3 will be 45, plus 10 will be 55. And when I evaluate this by printing out num, I get 55. Something I can also do is I can add parentheses. Remember that in math, if you add parentheses, those things get evaluated first. So I can kind of surpass the standard multiplication is above addition rule, put these together so I can add 10 plus 15 first and then multiply it by 3. And you can see by just adding those and running this program again, I get a totally different result. Okay? Something also to note is that the power operator is above the multiplication operator. So if I run this now, I get 145, and that's because I did 3 to the power of 2, which is 9, and I did 9 times 15, which is 135 plus 10, and that gives me my answer. Okay? I could also, again, put parentheses around this if I wanted to do 15 times 3 to the power of 2, which would give me a much bigger number, 2035. Okay, so with math, you can put parentheses around things to make sure that certain equations happen first in your math operation. And that's the basics of math operators. See the table for more on this. But now I'm going to get into probably the biggest issue a beginner can run into in Ruby in operator precedence, and that is the and or operators. So let's say I now have a Boolean statement, and I'm going to clear this up, and we're going to make a variable called Boolean statement with an underscore score, and it is going to be assigned to true and with a double ampersand false. And what value is Boolean statement going to have when I print it out? You should be able to figure this out yourself, and if you don't know, I'll take you through it. If you simply evaluate true and false, the AND statement is looking for two true values to evaluate the true. So in this case, it will evaluate 2 false. And as you can see, there it is. I ran the program, and it is false. Now, Ruby is very interesting in that there is another way to do an and or operator, and I strongly suggest in never using them, but just in case down the road you're reading other documentation, you may see this code and know not to use it. In Ruby, there is another syntax for and or statements. How you do that is simply use the keyword and or. So if I wanted to do true and false, this would evaluate to, you think this would evaluate to the same thing that this statement is. You would think, okay, this and is evaluating to true and false. So it's evaluating to the same thing as my double ampersands. But because of operator precedence, we get a different outcome. And I'll show you this by, again, printing out wrong statement after I print out Boolean statement. And so after I printed out wrong statement, I got true, and Boolean statement printed out what we already showed it printed out is false. That's very interesting, and it teaches us something about operator precedence, and that is that because the double ampersand has different operator precedence than the keyword and, that we get a different answer, just like if you did different precedence in math equations, you would get a different result. Now, just to show you guys, I'm going to zoom over here to this page, which shows the Ruby operator precedence table. Now, as you can see right here, the AND and the OR operators that you should always use are right here. And they're above the equal sign operator. Yes, the equal sign is the assignment operator. It is an operator and it has a precedence. And the OR and the AND keywords, the logical keywords, which do the same thing as the above, are below the equal sign. So the equal sign gets run before the keywords OR and AND spelled out. Now what's happening, if you can figure out, is that when this statement gets evaluated from right to left, but since we start on the right side, we go, okay, true, and then I see this equals operator, and equals has the highest precedence in this whole statement. So I simply assign true to the wrong statement. Then and false gets evaluated, but true was already assigned to the variable wrong statement. Thus, that's not going to change it. This whole part, even though it looks like it does something, is totally irrelevant because I used this keyword. It was lower in the precedence chart, and so I already had made the assignment to true for this variable wrong statement, and then this code got run. It did get run, but it was just arbitrary because it was lower on the precedence chart. Whereas here, the double ampersand is higher on the precedence chart, so it looked at the statement, said, okay, I need to evaluate this statement. What do I need? I need true and false. That evaluates the false. And now I need the next operator, which is the equal operator. That's lower. Assign it to Boolean statement. Boom. Boolean statement now equals false. So be very critical of when you use OR and always try to use the pipe operators or the ampersand operators because it can confuse you a lot, especially if you're setting a variable as a Boolean statement. I also want to note something I didn't show in a past video is that, as you can see here, the AND statement has a more logical presence, has a more operator precedence than the OR operator. So if I were to do something like this, true, and false, or true, then I'm simply going to evaluate the AND statement first to be true and false, which gives me false. So then I get false or true, which again gives me true. And if I get rid of this and run my code, I get true just as I thought. Now, if I wanted to override this, I could simply add parentheses. And
thank you guys for watching.
False
Make
or
sure
true,
to check out
and that would give me the right answer.
Subscribe to the email list for more helpful tips on how to learn programming.